Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Now, just like I promised yesterday, we started off with the Taurhai Unity Fire Drake. Today, we're going to finish up with the Star Dragon. Um, Now, this all comes from Lug. So, Last Unicorn Games, this is a species they came up with, and so on and so forth. So, we don't have any actual visuals. There are no visuals on either one of these ships. So, I do apologize. I did look for some, but I couldn't find any. It's just, quite often with a lot of the role playing games, when we do look at this stuff, it just turns out to being here's stats. Okay. So we're just going to go off of that. And of course, D6 Holocron, they have come up with a wonderful layout for this, and this is where we got it from. So it's the Star Dragon this time, not the Fire Drake. So this is our larger ship. This is 1,500 meters long, 25 meters wide, and 25 meters tall. Uh, a lot bigger. Our last one was what, like 200 and some odd long and 75 wide, 75 tall. Um, our mass, we went from like 1 million to 8,450 metric tons. This is a size 12 compared to our size 6 on our last one. So easily twice as big of a ship as what we had before. Okay, we have an autopilot of 4D. So this is actually a pretty significant piloting ability for a ship computer to do. So pretty respectable there. This has got a crew of 1,500. So our Enterprise, the Galaxy class, was a crew of 1,000. Um, this is 1,500. Has a skeleton crew requirement of 150 with a plus 10 to our roll. Passengers is 1,600, so a little bit more than what our crew is. And again, I'm going to guess that this is all troops because this is a war vessel. It was denoted last time that these are warships, so I'm going to guess that these are all soldiers on there waiting to be disembarked for whatever the purpose is. Our cargo capacity is 300,000 metric tons, very significant, but it also has a consumables for 10 years, so some of that's going to be taken up by your consumables and whatever else you're going to need for that long haul. Has a gravity induction drive. This is at a 0.36, which is bigger than what we had before. Uh, we can go 2 light years per jump at a maximum. Where the last time we were doing zero point 0.5. So you can go 2 light years every time you jump. Um, that's fairly significant. This can go, you know, quite a distance, and it's going to be hard to track to figure out exactly where it just suddenly disappeared to. All right, nav computer. Of course, it's going to have a nav computer with a warship like this. Has a maneuverability of 0D plus 1, so not the most maneuverable ship in the fleet, but the fact that if it's got similar weapons to what we had before, they were very significant and very lethal. Has a space of 9, a hull of 9D. So I think so far this is our biggest hold, no, hold or shielded ship that we have come across to date. I think the Galaxy class was maybe a 4 or 5D. This is a 9D hull with a 4D shields. So it can just pop out of nowhere and it can just start opening up on any unsuspecting vessel out there. Our sensor packet here, we can passively scan out to 5 kilometers with a 1D plus 1, a active scan out to 12 kilometers with a 2D plus, or with a 2D additional modifier. We have a search out to 16 kilometers with a 3D modifier and a focus of 500 meters with a 3D plus 2 addition. So our weapons, we have 13 type Rashi, Rashi heavy gravitation beams. And just like before, there's 360-degree forward, dorsal, ventral, starboard, and port arcs. Let's see. Location forward. We have in dorsal segments for um, 12 and 20, ventral segments for 12 and 20, starboard segments, because these ships break apart and then suddenly you're swarmed by these types of ships. Let's see, we have a fire control of 1D plus 1, fire rate of 5. So now if these go into different segments, and we'll read that below, and if you can have each one of these firing 5 rounds per, or 5 times per round, and they're doing 5D plus 2 damage, that gets very significant and very taxing on anybody's shields here. We also have 5 quantum torpedo launchers. We have 4 various forward, 4 various but are self-guided. Let's see. So throughout the whole segments, however that goes, has a fire control of 1D, has 300 quantum Type 2 quantum torpedoes, and it can shoot 8 rounds out at a time times 5. So you're talking about 40 quantum torpedoes launched at one time if you really wanted to. And they're doing 9D damage. So I think even the Borg would have a little bit of a hard time with this, being honest. Um, 2 Class 2 Delta tractor beams, 1 forward, 1 aft. Let's see. They have a fire control of 1D plus 1 and a strength of 4D plus 2. We have 4 Alpha Class tractor beams for the shuttle bays, with a +2 fire control and a 3D strength. So, looking at our miscellaneous information here. So, crew quarters, we have 800 Spartan crew quarters, um, 1,300 basic, 200 extended, 40 luxury, 15 unusual. There are 55 decks on this ship. Escape pods, there are 260 that can hold 12 beans in each escape pod. And this was commissioned about mid 24th century, according to Earth Reckoning. Transporters, we have 5 transporter pads at 8, or transporters at 8 pads per transporter. We have 5 emergency transporters that can hold 28 people for a maximum. We have 4 cargo transporters that can haul 800 kilograms at max. Um, Shuttlecraft. So we have 20 shuttlecraft, 10 shuttle pods. Now I don't know what shuttlecraft they're going to have. I don't have any information on that. So, the shuttlecraft and shuttle pods very easily could just turn out to be different size fighters or whatever else. So do keep that in mind. So in all, you could maybe have 30 different types of uh, shuttle attack fighters or something for all that goes. If I can ever find anything else on this, we'll try and see what else we can come up with, and then we'll go on from there. But this should be the last one that I have for this series. Um, we have 40 probes. Um, let's see. I thought we already had the escape. Oh no, emergency. Okay. Let's see. Escape pods is 260, 12 person capacity in each one, and there is a captain's yacht on this one too. So the description here. The Star Dragon was the Romulan designation for the most powerful and versatile starship fielded by the Taurhai Unity during the 24th century. Ship Recognition Manual, Volume 5. Again, same as the last one. The Star Dragon consisted of a 300-meter long wedge-shaped command hull. The ship's main engineering was in the command hull. The ship had 24 50-meter long segments. So that meant that it could go, um, 24 different ships flying around. The joints of these segments could coil and flex, allowing the ship to perform unusual but effective maneuvers. Nope, it's just how the ship is designed that it could bend or whatever else. Okay, just trying to get my head wrapped around this. The ship could separate command hull from these segments. Okay, so I was right. It can. Okay, we can have possibly 50 ships, which could turn, uh, which in turn could be split into 12 two-segment subships. Oh my God, this just gets. No wonder there's no picture of this. This would be murder trying to figure this all out. Honestly, I think I would just leave this as one ship. This is one of those. I think it was something that somebody came up with, but the ramifications of really trying to pull this off really gets to be very difficult here. The ship's weapons were spread over the segments, so to prevent any loss of any one segment serious compromising its offensive capabilities. While well armed, the uh, Tauri considered these ships to also be effective in exploration and science missions, uh, with it carrying a number of science laboratories and powerful sensors. The ship was also able to undertake long duration missions due to its converter technology that performed a total matter energy conversion. This meant the vessel could operate almost indefinitely without the need to refuel. As with all Tauri ships, it used the advanced gravity induction drive for interstellar travel. It was capable of traveling a maximum distance of 2 light years per jump at the speed of 24 light years per minute. Wow, that gets pretty interesting. Now, of course, this comes from the Ship Recognition Manual, Volume 5, Space Dock, pages 80 or 79 to 81. So, that kind of like how they had done the Prometheus, okay, and they wanted it to break off into more ships, and it just gets chaotic to try and design a ship to do this. It's easy to write this stuff out, but it's very hard to actually work this around. So, me personally, if I was going to do this, I think I would just leave it at one big ship. Uh, that makes more sense in my little mind, and I admit, I you know sometimes I do have a hard time trying to grasp some of this stuff, wrap my head around it. So yes, it does get to be kind of trying to figure this out is not always the easiest. So um, it would be a lot easier for me to say we're going to have one ship, but we have 13 different cannons that can fire out, doing let's see, 5D plus 2 damage, and each cannon can shoot 5 times in one round. So that's a very devastating attack right there. Um, just leaving it at that. I mean, I don't care what universe you want to play this in. Whether you want to leave this all in Star Trek or you want to go into Star Wars or whatever. If you can shoot 5 rounds or 5 times in a round at 5D plus 2, even if only half that damage goes through, you're going to start wearing down ships left and right. So just keeping it at that thought. So, all right. Well, to finish up the Tahari here, it's an interesting concept, having the two different ships and how big this is and how deadly this can get. Um, it does make sense to have it with in some regards over by the Romulans, although the Romulans and the Vulcans are starting to team up later on in the 24th century. Anyways, it keeps them on their toes and all that. They're always playing four-dimensional chess over in their neck of the woods. But it's an interesting uh, concept for a race and for a way of doing things. A very militaristic type of society. Um, you know, drop a comment what you think about this. This is an interesting. It's an interesting race and an interesting way of having ships splitting apart. I just don't. Someone's got to come up with a picture at some point, and I just don't know how you really do it. I really don't. Being able to split into 50 segments and then split into smaller ones after that, I think it's too much splitting going on. Um, that's why, for me, I think I would always just leave this as one ship. But just to see that you have 13 cannons that could fire 5 times per round, that gets to be very devastating. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so very much for joining me. It's always wonderful having you stop by. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.